So I want you to imagine two 80-year-olds.
Okay.
One is just totally dreading the, like, 3 modest steps up to their front porch,
Yeah.
wincing before they even bend their knee.
Oh, yeah, we've all seen that, or, well, felt that.
Right. But the other one is bounding up this steep, uneven mountain path in Japan, carrying heavy gardening tools, just to tend a farm they've worked for, like, 50 years.
It's quite the contrast.
It is. And for decades, the medical establishment basically blamed this stark difference on one simple concept, which is wear and tear.
Right, the old tire analogy.
Exactly. We assumed that joints were like tires on a car, and the more miles you put on them, the less tread you have left.
But new biological research is showing that we've actually been, we've been blaming the wrong part of the joint entirely.
Which is wild. So, welcome to today's deep dive. We have a highly specific mission right now. We are unpacking the biological secrets of lifelong nobility for you.
And it is a profound paradigm shift, honestly.
Yeah, we're going to deconstruct the lifestyle of one of Japan's healthiest aging communities, zoom way in on the microscopic fluid mechanics of joint lubrication, and look at a targeted approach called BIODYNAMIX Joint Genesis. So, okay, let's unpack this. Where do we even anchor a discussion about something as, universally misunderstood as joint health?
Well, to really understand the cutting edge of joint science, we shouldn't actually start in a sterile laboratory. We need to travel back in time, structurally speaking.
Okay, I like time travel. Where are we going?
To a very specific rugged topography.
Yeah.
We're looking at a place called Yuzurihara. It's this really unassuming village nestled deep in the mountains of Yamanashi Prefecture in Japan.
Oh, Yuzurihara, right.
Yeah, and for researchers who study longevity and biomechanics, this village has been a living laboratory for decades.
Right, because we always hear about these magical blue zones, where people routinely hit 100 years old and everything's great.
Yeah, the centenarian hotspots.
But this isn't just about the length of their lifespan, is it? I mean, it's about the mechanical quality of those years for these people.
Precisely. When kinesiologists and medical researchers first began observing Yuzurihara, they were just baffled by the functional capacity of the elderly residents.
Because they're not just, like, sitting around knitting.
No, not at all. We aren't talking about people surviving into their 90s while resting comfortably in rocking chairs. These are people in their 80s and 90s doing intense physical daily labor.
Wow.
And with a fluidity that, frankly, most Westerners lose in their 50s.
Yeah, I was looking at their daily output. And to be honest, it sounds like a recipe for just wearing your joints down to the bone.
It really does sound like that, doesn't it?
It does. We're talking about tending to these expansive, heavy vegetable gardens, walking incredibly long distances, doing manual labor outdoors all day. And the one that really gets me navigating incredibly steep, mountainous hills.
Oh, the hills are intense.
Like, if I went out and farmed steep hills every day for 60 years, my knees would be absolutely screaming.
Mm.
There has to be some kind of biological buffer we're missing here, right? Are they just, I don't know, immune to mechanical stress?
So what's fascinating here is that conventional wisdom tells us that to preserve a joint, you need to save it. Right?
Right, like don't run too much, preserve the cartilage.
Exactly, don't lift too heavy. But the residents of Yuzurihara do the exact opposite. They aren't preserving their joints by immobilizing them. They are actively loading them all day long.
Which goes against everything we're told.
Totally. But the key buffer, the thing that changes the entire physics of their joints, well, it originates in their historical diet.
Okay, so they aren't genetically superhuman.
Okay.
It comes down to what they're actually putting into their cellular system.
Yes. For generations, their traditional diet was radically different from ours, and actually even different from other parts of Japan.
Oh, really? How so?
Because they live in this steep mountainous region, they couldn't grow rice. So instead, they relied heavily on a variety of locally grown, sticky, starchy tubers.
Okay, like what kind of tubers?
Foods like satoimo, satsumaimo, and konnyaku root.
Konnyaku, yeah, I've heard of that.
Right. And these specific plants did something remarkable inside the human body. They naturally stimulated the synthesis of a molecule called hyaluronan, or, as most people know it, hyaluronic acid.
Hyaluronic acid. I mean, you see that plastered on literally every high-end skin cream at the department store, promising to plump up wrinkles.
Oh, it's everywhere in cosmetics.
Right, but what is a cosmetic skincare ingredient doing inside the biomechanics of a knee joint?
Inside the body, it is an absolute mechanical game changer. While the cosmetic industry loves it for skin hydration, its primary ancient biological role is actually as a massive space-filling, water-binding molecule,
Okay.
and it is incredibly concentrated inside your synovial fluid.
Let's elevate that a bit. Synovial fluid, we all know we have fluid in our joints, but mechanically, what is it actually doing?
It's doing a lot more than people think.
Because when people hear a click or a pop, or they feel that gross grind when they stand up, the immediate villain is always cartilage. We're told we have bone-on-bone friction because the cartilage wore away.
And that is the massive blind spot in Western orthopedics.
Really?
Yeah. While cartilage, the smooth, white tissue capping the ends of your bones, is undeniably crucial, we've treated it like it just exists in a vacuum. Cartilage itself is actually quite vulnerable.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It relies entirely on the synovial fluid that surrounds it. Think about the physics of walking downstairs. When your foot strikes a lower step, you are sending a shock wave of force, which is multiple times your body weight, straight up through your ankle and into your knee.
So if cartilage is the brake pad just sitting there taking the hit, it's going to wear down eventually.
Exactly.
Here's where it gets really interesting to me. If we look at this mechanically, if cartilage is the physical brake pad, then the synovial fluid must be the oil in the engine, right? Like if the oil dries out, the metal grinds, regardless of how new the brake pads are.
That's close, but there's a crucial distinction. It's actually way more advanced than engine oil.
Wait, really? How?
Synovial fluid is what physicists call a non-Newtonian viscoelastic fluid,
Okay, you're losing me with the big words.
meaning it actually changes its behavior based on the forces applied to it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. When you're just sitting on the couch, the fluid is thick and viscous, almost like a gel, keeping the joint surfaces separated. But the split second you stand up or break into a run, the sheer stress causes the fluid to instantly become more elastic and slippery.
That's crazy.
It acts as a highly pressurized hydraulic shock absorber.
Wait, so it actively adapts to the pressure you put on it? That is just incredible engineering.
It is brilliant biological engineering. The hyaluronan molecules in the fluid are these enormous complex chains that bind immense amounts of water.
Right.
They create this thick, robust cushion that perfectly distributes the kinetic impact of your foot hitting the pavement.
So it's not just absorbing the shock, it's spreading it out.
Precisely. It ensures that the force doesn't just drill into one tiny spot of your cartilage, but spreads out evenly across the entire surface area.
That brings us to the inevitable problem, doesn't it?
Unfortunately, yes.
Because if this hyaluronan-rich fluid is this magical hydraulic suspension system, and it is the reason an 80-year-old farmer in Yuzurihara can hike up a mountain without pain, why does my knee pop when I get out of a desk chair? What goes wrong with this fluid as we age?
Well, this brings us to the cellular reality of aging. Beginning in your 30s and 40s, a very specific enzymatic shift happens.
Okay, what kind of shift?
Your body starts producing more of an enzyme called hyaluronidase. Its whole job is to break down old hyaluronan so your body can make new stuff.
Like a recycling process.
Exactly, it's a recycling process. But as we age, and as we are exposed to modern stressors, oxidative stress, and poor diets, that enzyme basically goes into overdrive.
So it's a physiological betrayal. The body starts breaking down the suspension fluid faster than it can actually rebuild it.
Precisely. It starts snipping those long, beautiful chains of hyaluronan into tiny fragments. They call it a drop in molecular weight.
Oh, I see.
And as the molecular weight of the hyaluronan drops, your synovial fluid literally loses its viscosity. It stops being a thick, protective, shock-absorbing gel, and it becomes a thin, watery soup.
Like putting cheap, watered-down oil into a high-performance engine. The pressure just isn't distributed evenly anymore.
Exactly. When the fluid thins out, it can no longer buffer the impact. Suddenly, your cartilage is taking the brunt of every single footstep.
Which is what hurts.
Right, it's localized pressure. That is when the cartilage begins to fray, which causes inflammation, which then degrades the fluid even further. It is a terrible, vicious cycle.
And that explains the slow creep of stiffness, I guess, because it doesn't happen overnight. You don't just wake up on your 40th birthday with a dry knee.
No, it's very gradual.
The fluid gradually thins. You start noticing that morning stiffness takes like 20 minutes to wear off instead of 5. Or after a long flight, your hips feel like they're locked in cement.
Yes. You might notice your gait changes. You stop taking the stairs two at a time. You rely heavily on the armrest to get out of a deep chair.
Oh, man.
You are subconsciously modifying your entire biomechanical existence because your internal hydraulic suspension is failing.
So, wait, is stiffness just inevitable for you once you hit a certain birthday? If this enzymatic breakdown is baked into human biology, are you, our listener, just doomed to eventual discomfort?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the answer is a definitive no.
Okay, thank goodness.
And that is what the researchers realized when they looked at Yuzurihara. The residents there experience the same chronological aging we do, but they managed to completely bypass this biological breakdown.
Because of what they were doing every day.
Right, because they maintained an environment and a set of habits that actively suppressed that enzymatic degradation and continuously stimulated new hyaluronan production.
Okay, let's dissect that environment. Because we know they weren't taking high-tech pharmaceuticals on a mountain. They relied on 4 very specific lifestyle pillars. Let's walk through the mechanics of what they actually did every day.
The first pillar is those nutrient-dense traditional foods we mentioned.
The tubers.
Right. They weren't eating highly processed inflammatory Western diets. They were eating those specific tubers and whole foods packed with phytochemicals.
And what do those actually do?
These foods provided the exact micronutrients and antioxidants needed to protect the synovial fluid from oxidative stress, essentially keeping that destructive hyaluronidase enzyme in check.
So it's like giving the body the raw materials to defend its own fluid.
Exactly.
Now, pillar number 2 is daily movement. And I really want to dig into this because it feels so counterintuitive to the wear and tear myth.
It really is.
They stayed intensely active through normal daily living. Not 30 minutes on a treadmill and then sitting for 10 hours, but constant, varied movement.
This is perhaps the most important mechanical concept in joint biology. We have to remember cartilage is avascular.
Meaning it has no blood supply of its own.
Exactly. There are no veins pumping nutrients into your knee cartilage or pulling waste products out.
So how does it survive then?
It relies entirely on a mechanical vacuum. When you take a step, the weight of your body compresses the cartilage, squeezing out the old depleted fluid and waste products.
Okay, like wringing it out.
Yes. And when you lift your foot, the pressure releases, creating a vacuum that sucks in fresh, nutrient-rich, hyaluronan-packed synovial fluid.
So to use an analogy, it's like a sponge.
It's close to a sponge, but imagine a sponge sealed inside a pressurized chamber with no external water line.
Oh, wow.
If you don't physically step down and release that pressure to force the fluid in and out of the tissue, that sponge literally suffocates. It starves.
That is wow.
This is a mechanical imperative. You cannot deliver nutrients to a joint if it is not moving.
That completely flips the script. Yeah. When we sit at a desk for 9 hours a day, we aren't saving our knees. We're actively starving them of hydration because we aren't pumping the fluid.
Precisely. The people of Yuzurihara were constantly walking, crouching, lifting, and bending.
They were just running the pump all day.
They were perpetually running that mechanical pump, driving high-quality fluid deep into their cartilage tissues all day long.
Which naturally leads to the third pillar, which is healthy body weight.
Right, and this one is pure physics. If your synovial fluid is working hard to buffer the impact of every step, carrying excess weight exponentially increases the shear force on that fluid.
That makes sense.
By maintaining a lean, functional body weight, the villagers minimized unnecessary mechanical stress. It allowed their synovial fluid to easily handle the loads required for daily labor without being pushed to the point of failure.
And then there is the fourth pillar, which honestly might be the most overlooked factor in modern wellness discussions,
right.
And that's community living.
Oh, absolutely.
We tend to view joint health as a purely physical thing, isolated to our own bodies. But social infrastructure plays a massive role here, doesn't it?
It does. Behavioral kinesiology tells us that our environment dictates our movement. In the West, aging often correlates with shrinking social circles and increased isolation.
Which is really sad.
It is. And when you are isolated, your step count plummets. You lose all those subconscious incidental movements that keep a body lubricated.
Right, because in a tight-knit village like Yuzurihara, your social obligations demand physical action. You don't have the option of just isolating.
No, you're constantly engaged.
You're walking over a hill to visit a neighbor, you're participating in local festivals, you are out in the world interacting. The social community basically acts as a behavioral driver that forces you to engage that mechanical joint pump.
Exactly. These four pillars, nutrient-dense food, continuous vascular pumping through movement, lean body mass, and community-driven behavior drivers, they worked synergistically.
Creating the perfect environment.
Right. They created an internal biochemical environment that optimized hyaluronan production and minimized its breakdown.
Okay, but here's the brutal reality check for you, our listener. Unless you're planning to quit your corporate job, move to a Japanese mountain, and farm sticky potatoes with your neighbors, it's incredibly difficult to replicate that lifestyle.
It's virtually impossible for most people.
We are tethered to desks, cars, and screens. So how does someone navigating a modern, sedentary world bridge this massive biological gap?
That is exactly the dilemma that prompted a massive pivot in modern orthopedic research. Historically, sports medicine and orthopedics were almost entirely reactive.
I mean, you just wait for it to break.
Yeah, you wait until the synovial fluid completely degrades, the cartilage wears down, the pain becomes unbearable, and then you try to mask it with NSAIDs or eventually perform a joint replacement.
Playing defense when the game is already lost.
Right. But the new era of joint science is proactive. Researchers began asking, well, can we intervene at the microscopic level before the fluid thins out?
Okay, and how do they do that?
Can we target the synovial fluid directly, supplying the specific molecular weights of hyaluronan and the antioxidant complexes needed to re-thicken that fluid from the inside out?
Which brings us to the specific application we're looking at today, BIODYNAMIX Joint Genesis. This is where advanced nutritional science is attempting to step in.
Yes. What makes the biodynamics approach notable is that it's rooted in advanced doctor-formulated research, specifically drawing on Ivy League insights into how hyaluronan actually behaves at a cellular level.
Because it's not just about taking any random supplement.
Exactly. They realized you can't just consume any generic joint compound and expect it to work. You have to provide molecules that can survive digestion and effectively signal the joint to thicken its synovial fluid.
It's aiming at the root mechanism, the thinning of the fluid, rather than just putting a chemical bandage over the resulting pain.
Precisely. It's designed to provide the biological raw materials that support healthy hyaluronan levels, aiming to restore that thick, viscoelastic, shock-absorbing quality to the synovial fluid.
Simulating the mountain life, kind of.
Yeah. It is an attempt to chemically mimic the internal environment of a Yuzurihara elder, allowing the bones to glide smoothly and the cartilage to remain buffered against impact.
So what does this actually mean for you, in your daily routine? We need to be incredibly clear here because there is no shortage of snake oil in the wellness industry.
That is very true.
No supplement, no matter how much Ivy League research is behind it, is a magic eraser for a terrible lifestyle. You cannot swallow a capsule of biodynamics, sit in an ergonomic chair for 12 hours, and expect to have the joints of a mountain athlete.
The biology simply will not permit it. Remember the avascular nature of cartilage we discussed?
Right, the sponge.
You can have the most hyaluronan-rich synovial fluid in the world, but if you don't physically move your body to create that pressure differential, that fluid will never reach the tissues that need it.
The strongest foundation always requires those functional habits. You have to walk. You need strength training to reinforce the muscles stabilizing the joint. You need to stay hydrated, eat nutrient-dense foods to lower systemic inflammation, and of course, prioritize sleep.
Absolutely.
A targeted nutritional approach like biodynamics is designed to act as a powerful multiplier. It provides your body with the high-quality oil for the engine, but you still have to drive the car to keep the engine lubricated.
And this raises an important question about how we fundamentally view our bodies as we age.
Oh, how so?
The most profound takeaway from studying populations like Yuzurihara isn't that they discovered one magical tuber that grants invincibility. It is that joint health is a lifelong practice of maintenance.
It's a daily habit.
They cultivated an internal environment that actively nourished their natural lubrication systems decades before stiffness ever had a chance to set in.
It shifts the entire narrative from repairing broken parts to maintaining an optimal fluid environment.
Yeah.
It's incredibly empowering, honestly, to realize how much agency we actually have over our physical trajectory.
We have so much more control than we think.
So, to distill all this down for you, lifelong mobility isn't a genetic lottery you just hope to win. It is constructed through daily, mechanical, and nutritional choices. Whether you are actively loading your joints through varied movement, eating to lower oxidative stress, or utilizing sophisticated nutritional support like biodynamics, keeping that internal hydraulic system thick and functional is your biological key to preserving your freedom.
And I want to leave you with a final, slightly provocative thought to chew on today, building on everything we've just unpacked.
Ooh, okay, let's hear it.
We discussed how joints require a mechanical vacuum to feed themselves right. A vacuum triggered by constant, varied, multi-directional movement, like navigating a rocky, uneven farm on a steep hill.
Right, the mechanical imperative we talked about.
So, consider the world we've built for ourselves today. We pave every road perfectly flat. We pour leveled concrete sidewalks. We wear heavily cushioned, motion-controlling shoes.
Everything is so smooth.
We sit in highly engineered, stable chairs. Everything is designed for maximum physical predictability. Does our hyper-convenient, flawlessly flat-surfaced world fundamentally conflict with our evolutionary biology?
Oh, wow.
By engineering all the complex, varied physical stimuli out of our environment, could we literally be starving our joints of the exact micro-movements they require to trigger that vital lubrication?
That is just wow. Are our environments actually too comfortable for our own biological good? We engineered away the struggle, but in doing so, we might have engineered away our mobility.
It's something to think about.
That is a brilliant question to ponder the next time you find yourself debating between taking the smooth elevator or the uneven, unpredictable stairs. Speaking of which, it is time for us to wrap up this deep dive. Take a cue from the biology we explored today. Go find an uneven path, take a long walk, drive some hydration into that synovial fluid, and keep challenging your body. Thanks for diving deep with us.